Week you are going to be starting your midterm project, and we have been looking at installation art and artists who are trying to evoke an emotion. So your midterm project is going to follow in line with those artists. You're not going to be able to create an installation art due to the nature of the online class, but you are going to create a piece with multiple videos. And in this way, it's going to be similar to the installation because we're going to be talking about how these videos interact with each other and help to evoke an emotion. So this should be a short piece between 2 to 3 minutes. And the new technical requirement is that you have to have multiple videos playing on the same screen at the same time. That doesn't mean that all of the videos have to be different. You could repeat some of the videos. You could have things that are just color, for example. You could have some that are different. There could be a combination of things. So here, for example, I'm not going to even try to play this because I know there's going to be a lag if I record it. So this is under the past student examples. Here's a student where you can see some footage is very similar. It's not exactly repeated, but we have yellow that's being repeated. So up here at the top, we have kind of this gray sky, and then we have yellow. And then slowly things are getting replaced. The yellow ones are getting replaced with like these nature shots. Can you use stock footage is always a question. You can have a few clips that are stock footage, something not more than like 10%. Mostly I want you to shoot your own videos, okay? So now we can see her video is going to start to change in a moment, and we no longer have the yellow, but we have the things in black and white. And so here again, you see that there's a repeat of videos. So we have some multiple ones that are static, multiple ones that are like the blood, multiple ones, and then we get at the end and they're all like just the same two of the eye that's been reproduced over and over again. So this has a really different look to it than if it was just a single eye. So we really want to do a piece that takes advantage of having the multiple screens. So the multiple screens can be used to sort of pump up your methods that you're going to have for evoking emotion. So going back to the description, that's what your goal is. There is another requirement, which is that you have to use video effects for this. This week, I cover a couple of video effects, but really, I just want you to spend time going into Premiere and playing and experimenting. So just save time this week for playing with the effects in Premiere. So your goal, besides using the multiple screens, but is to evoke an emotion for the experience. So think of something like a really easy emotion, like a straightforward one, like fear or sadness, loss, nostalgia, anger, passion, calm, disorientation. And this can be done as narrative or non-narrative. So non-narrative is something that might look a little bit more abstract, and narrative might be, there are some more details that we have to follow along. Like I think you'll see in the one past student example where it kind of looks like there's a murder scene or something like that. There's still lots of different screens and there's not any acting, there's very little, but there are little details given throughout that make us piece together a story. So use a lot of video effects, use color. So kind of this is your midterm project, so you should be using everything that we've talked about so far, right? So we're talking about pacing, we're talking about using symbols, we're talking about using color. You can use audio, but it should be really non-descriptive. So it could be environmental sounds, like the sound of thunder, rain, lightning, dogs barking, or it could be static. That's another good environmental sound. The sound of a TV, sound of people talking over and over again. If it kind of sounds like gibberish, like maybe layering that instead of not like, I don't want to hear a story. I don't want to hear someone reciting a poem or anything narrative like that. You can use some music if it is from the Creative Commons, and it's free or royalty free, and it's nothing that we know. So if it's something we know, then it's not going to work because that's that's going to drive the emotions. So in general, I'd say kind of stay away from music, but it's possible to use it. Think about your camera angles and how when you're shooting your symbols and your objects, that can be used. No acting or speaking, as I said, unless it's like the speaking is part of like an emotion, like trying to create chaos, like things overlapping. and use symbols. So I suggest, these are my recommendations, but spend some time first just writing about this project and think about the themes that you want to evoke. And then one thought is sometimes if you want to evoke an emotion, we actually have to go through the opposite emotion to get there first. So for example, in this one student project where she wanted to evoke kind of tension and fear, what you'll see when you play it yourself is that it starts out and it's more about calm. It's serene. We have like pretty pictures and flowers, and then it starts to get disrupted or interrupted. And there's flashes of static and things kind of unsettling, giving us the idea that something bad is about to happen. And this is where the multi-screen can have a lot of, you can have a lot of fun with this and playing with the pacing. So consider that. So, it doesn't have to be, but sometimes to get an emotion, the best way is to go in the opposite way. The other past student examples I have, they don't do that. So this one, which is about evoking emotion, there's one large image here, and you'll notice that this is the sort of the main focus, and this changes throughout the video with this kind of black paint that slowly drips on it. And she did do this in her house, and she covered up everything and tried to protect her window, and she had to shoot it multiple times. And all of the videos that are here, they start out in color and then they slowly switch to black and white. And you can see like there's a repeat. So it's not all the same image, but some of the videos are being repeated. But so this is in just leading to this feeling of depression. And so eventually just goes into black. And when you watch this one, do watch it with the audio up because the sound gets louder as you sort of feel like you're drowning. And this other past student example, she just wanted to evoke this kind of feeling of weird, uncomfortable. So this one again is just sticks with like that one emotion. All right, so it's just a thought, you know, you don't, it really depends on your piece, but you might want to do it that way, or maybe you just stick to one emotion. So other things to think about, how do the screens play together all throughout? Do you always have the same layout, or are there times where it's 2 videos and then it becomes 4 and then it becomes 8? Like you want to have a piece that is evoking anxiety, you know, maybe the videos keep popping up on the screen. So think about that. I would say write it down. Think about your lighting and your composition, and then think about the effects. Think about different kinds of effects that you can use throughout, whether it's effects of adding color, effects of making static, effects of just making things look kind of weird, whatever it is. All right. And then you just need to spend a lot of time sitting and watching this. Now, I'll give you a heads up that because this has effects and this has multiple screens at the same time, your computer might fight you an awful lot. So make sure you watch that video where I talk about how you could render out a small section on your video. And so just make sure you watch through all the videos of this week, which can help sort of speed things up and show you in real time. But, you know, you have to check and make sure that your computer can handle doing lots of videos and effects at the same time. And if you have any questions at any time about how to work with this project, just feel free to reach out to me and I'd be happy to set up an appointment with you.